Hey guys, so this video is so late. I was supposed to make this video at the end of March, just to um, show what I read in March, which is National Reading Month. So, let me see. This is one of the books that I read, Bitter and Sweet. This book is by Rhonda McKnight. This is a very good book about two sisters, the legacy of their grandmother who she started a restaurant business like back in I believe it was like in the 40s or so in North Carolina. And so this was, um, the story was written like in current times, and then it also concurrently did a story of the grandmother's journey and what she was going through, just kind of getting her independence from her family, making mistakes in love, and taking a chance on herself with starting the restaurant business that she started as a black woman, a single black woman, because the first man who she had children with, this man had lied to her, told her, that he was available. He was much older than her. And so she fell for his okie doke and wound up having two babies by him, actually three babies by him, before she learned that he was actually a married man, could not marry her. But she persevered by, starting the business to take care of herself and her children. And then she eventually, met another guy who she eventually, had shared the rest of her life with. But the other part that was very good about this is the story of the sisters. And I don't want to give everything away. I already gave too much away regarding the grandmother story, but the sisters, and this is really near and dear to my heart because I lost my sister, and but we had a great relationship, and I was really looking for us to have more time together. I was her big sister, and it was in the Lord's plan, to call her home at the young age of 42, and I'm turning 50 this year, and I was just looking forward to, like, as we got older, just our sister bond growing even more and stronger. But in this particular story, the sisters they did not get along. They kind of had a very combative relationship, but it was really deep as to the reason why they didn't get along. And by the end of the story, they did come to resolve the issue that was between them. The younger sister didn't understand why her sister felt this way about her, was treating her in a certain way. But it all comes in the end. So I love the story, Bitter and Sweet. That was a book that I read. And I actually continued on this month, in the month of April, with this book called A Nearly Normal Family. This is an older book. I think it came out in 2019. Yep, 2019. It's copywritten in 2019. I picked this up because you know how they say funerals, or when you lose people in your family, some families just go through drama, after the loss of a loved one. I didn't think my family would experience that, but we did. And so I had this book on my bookshelf for quite a long time, because at one point I was collecting books, kind of building up an inventory of books that I wanted to send in the form of a blind date with a book. If you ever go on Etsy and search a blind date with a book, that's what people do, kind of like with their used books, like make book recommendations, and you can surprise people with a book. Everybody likes to get, like a surprise. So if you have a book lover in your family or in your friend network, you can send them a blind date with a book. And the way that works is you fill out the form and say what genre, that you want to choose from, and then you pick whatever snack you want. People send, hot chocolate, they send tea, and things like that. So I was going to start that business, and I did start just didn't push it. But anyway, because I was a librarian at a public library, and they were having the, the used book sales and stuff. So I started buying up books, for this business. And so I have shelves full of books that I had not read. And so after reading month, I decided I wanted to keep it up. I really enjoyed physically reading a book, not just, doing the audio books. Like, I often do that now, because sometimes it's just hard sometimes reading a book, I will say, because we do so much screen time now. So the way that I get through my books, in order to physically read a book, I have to read in the morning, like before I let my eyes get bombarded with the screen, from the computer screen to the phone screen to the television. So I start off on fresh eyes. But this was another great book. This actually takes place in Sweden, and it's about a girl. It's a thriller. It's a legal thriller about Sweden law, and a young girl she's kind of a troubled child. She wasn't the child that her parents imagined, and all of us can attest to that when we have children. Our children don't always march to the beat of our drum. They march to the beat of their own drum. And so they had this daughter like that, and she wound up getting into some legal trouble, was arrested, accused of murder. So this author takes us on this tale, just talking about their family dynamic, because the father is a pastor, the mother is a lawyer. So on the outside, they're this supposedly perfect family, but the daughter, she kind of started messing that up because she was having behavioral issues and getting in trouble in school, but they were still trying to conceal it, so that they had this look as this perfect family. So it takes us through the story on both ends. It starts with the father's story, then it goes to the daughter's story, and then it concludes with the mother's story. So this book kept me tuned in all the way up until the end. I'm telling you, I thought I had it figured out in the last few pages, and then it was like, oh, that was good. I love it when a book can wrap me in like that, because I have another book that I started. I bought this book back during the holidays. I won't say which book it is right now, because I haven't given up on it yet, but I did put it down. And it's because there's something about it that it keeps losing me. And this is an author that I like. I've listened to one of her books before, and I actually think maybe if I had the audio book of this book, maybe I would be more into it. But really, when a book is really good, it should be good whether it's the audio version or you are actually reading the book. But I couldn't finish that one. This book had me captivated. As big as it is, this book is 382 pages. I think chapter-wise, I think it's 300? Oh, no, not chapter. I meant the chapters, yeah. I think it ends on the 109th chapter. I don't think I've ever read a book that has that many chapters. Yeah, because I was like, whoo. I didn't let that deter me, though, as it kept going. I'm like, ooh, chapter 89, chapter 93. It just kept going. But it was a great book. And then I will show the other book right here that I read. Oh, it was called How to End a Love Story. Very good book. That one I did do the audio. I had checked the physical book out from one of the libraries that I work at, but I was doing too much. So I said, let me just turn this book in. I ordered the audio, and that was a really good book. So I got in 2 books during National Reading Month of March, and then this was my book I read in April. So I'm going to keep it up. Right now, I actually decided to go back and listen to a book that's in my Audible account, and it's called Beautiful Malice. I don't know, sometimes when I'm in between books, I'll go back, to a book that I really enjoy. So this is probably the 3rd time that I'm listening to this particular book, and it's more of her books out. But that's all for now. That's my March National Reading Month wrap up, and I'm just happy to say that I'm continuing to read. Every year, I kind of come into a new year. You know, we do our vision boards at the end of the year, and you talk about what do you want to do. I think about this for my vision board. How do I want to spend my time? So one of those things that I always have on my vision board is that I want to get back to doing things that I really enjoy. You know, things that bring me joy. Reading was always something that brought me joy, and so I'm making time for reading. And even I'm not knocking Audible. I'm not knocking audiobooks because I'm gonna listen to some audiobooks sometimes too. But it's something about reading an actual book. I mean, just the connection that you make to words and meaning through context is different from seeing it versus just listening to it. So, however you get your reading in, I definitely would like to encourage people. Don't forget about, you know, the physical book. It's really good for you. It's good for you. But anyway, till the next video. Thanks, guys.